This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. If you want to be part of the community that makes content like this, head over now. Ben Duckett does not leave the ball. He goes after everything. That is his signature style. Well, actually, no. Perhaps now he is best known for Duckett's Buckets, his new hat range. I don't know if Herbert Sutcliffe sold his own hats, but I would definitely have bought them if he did. But Ben Duckett does, so you don't need to be left alone without one. Chase down your own Duckett's Buckets today.
Hello, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Third Innings Live. I'm Behram Kazi, who you can find at Def Mango on Twitter. And with me is my colleague, Saurabh Somani, who you can find at Saurabh_42 at Twitter. We're here to review India's 21-run victory over Oman. But before we get into, the mix of things, just like to inform everyone that all of our podcasts on the Good Areas Network are powered by our supporters on Patreon. You can become one of them, by the way, by going to Patreon/Good Areas Podcast, and then you can enjoy ad-free content. You can talk to us exclusively. You can give us podcast recommendations and talk about whatever you want, really. All right then, Mr. Somani. First, I've noticed that your surname includes the nation of Oman. So that's really fun, right?
I had not thought of that.
If you ever move to Muscat, you could be Saurabh Omani, right?
I could. I think it's good that it's both of us on this podcast and not Shayan or Varun, because they would have said uncle joke at this. I laughed at this.
Yeah, sure. We are older than those two guys. And this is the second unofficial episode of the Kaz Mani podcast for those few guys who aren't aware. Anyway,
absolutely.
An inevitable 20-run or 21-run win for India. And I mean, this was a weird one, man. India were treating this game as high-intensity net practice or maybe low-intensity net practice. They weren't taking it seriously at all. Oman, did really well, actually, to get to 167 in the second innings. But, really, really weird, difficult sort of watch, no?
So, I don't think I would say that India were not taking it seriously. I think what they were doing was they were creating situations or planning for the most extreme scenarios which they might face against stronger teams. So now if you have a day when a frontline bowler rolls his ankle on the boundary, trying to stop a ball, and suddenly you have to cover up those overs. Now if an Abhishek Sharma, Shivam Dube and all have some match practice overs under their belt, they have like bowling legs in a match, they will be much better placed to do that cover-up job than they would just coming in cold from nets. I mean, you could bowl in the nets as much as you want, but in a live match where there is something at stake, you do that. So this was the best game. You've already qualified and the opposition is by almost any metric weaker than you. So you can afford to do that. And I think that is what they were doing. That's of course, the batting order, I could understand why they followed the batting order they did. But I really wanted to see India's number 11 bat. And it's a pity he didn't come out to bat. So, so I can understand why they did it. But not to take any credit away from Oman. Okay, like India can do this. But the fact that Oman pushed them shows that Oman are not pushovers, right? That if you don't play your A game against them, they can compete. So if you're off, now India intentionally, almost were playing in a plan B sort of phase intentionally. But if your A game is off for some reason, which can happen, Oman can push you, and you wouldn't have thought that possible maybe before the Asia Cup, right? Before you saw this performance. So full credit to Oman. I loved watching them bat. I'm sure you did too.
Now you definitely sound like Saurabh Omani. I'm convinced at this point. But yeah, I mean, it was weird, man. The batting order was also weird. Sky never came out to bat. And at one point when he had, bowled 8 different bowlers, I was like, oh, surely we're going to get to see Sky bowl as well now, or Gill perhaps for an over. That didn't end up happening. I mean, India were just kind of on snooze mode. I felt that they were quite confident that they'll win this anyway. But there was one little moment in this entire chase when 17 overs had been bowled and Oman required 48 of the last 3 with 9 wickets in hand and 2 set batters on the crease. I mean, they had to believe, right? Like, I thought, okay, maybe we're in fun territory now. India's probably going to win this. But still, Oman have got to believe.
Yeah, yeah. If anybody who was Omani or Somani had to believe, that that they had a chance, because they were in a situation from which games have been won before. Andre Russell has done it. Virat Kohli has done it. So it's been done. Okay, obviously they don't have an Andre Russell or Virat Kohli in their midst, but the fact is that they're not in an impossible situation anymore. Like what it seemed like maybe when 6 overs were left, it seemed like an impossible situation. There is no way they'll get it. But they were no longer in that impossible situation. They had come to a, at least an improbable one. So, and they had to, they had to believe at that time. And actually, I think they did, because they were going for it, right? Obviously, India then, I made a prediction, like who will be the last 4 overs bowlers for India. So the reason why I thought, like when we were chatting, I thought that why there'll be 2 overs of Arshdeep, 1 of Hardik and 1 of Harshit Rana was because of the way India were playing this match. The way they were playing this match was to give their next rung the maximum possible opportunity in the best situations. Now, so it made sense that Arshdeep is going to be your guy in case Bumrah is not available. He's your next frontline seamer. So it makes sense to bowl him in that over where the chase is hotting up a little bit, where, because you have created this situation of pressure for him, which might be naturally there even when you are playing your A game against stronger sides. So that's when you bring Arshdeep on, and you bring him on for the final over. And then when you are playing the 11 that India have chosen as their first 11, Hardik might be having to bowl a lot of death overs against stronger sides. Till now he hasn't in the tournament. That's why Bumrah has been bowling 3 in the power play and all that. But he might. So that's why if Hardik has an over left, you have to bowl him at the death. So now, once 2 of Arshdeep and 1 of Hardik is fixed, the other one is of course Harshit Rana. So that's was my thinking behind that combination that India went in with. So but what did you think? Did you think Sky would bat today, or did you think he wouldn't, or were you waiting for him to come out, or?
I was convinced that he wouldn't when the tail enders came. I was like, yeah, he just doesn't want to bat today. It's interesting. So for those of you who don't know the backstory, when Kuldeep finished his 3rd over and there were 4 overs left, I messaged in the Good Areas chat and I asked that who or what combination of seamers will be bowling these last 4 overs. And Saurabh got it like, spot on to the tee. And then I named him Saurabh Kumar Yadav because clearly he knows what's going on in Sky's head and he's given you the full rationale over here. My question to you is, if the intention was to test India's bench entirely and give them game time and, some of those seamers miles in their legs, well, then why not just sit this one out and play Rinku? He should have also had a bat then.
That is a question that occurred to me. That then maybe Rinku or Jitesh could be candidates to be in the playing 11, because give them that game time at number 6, 7, or that whatever spot, to maximize the death overs. That wasn't done. There could be various explanations for this. So I would like to be in Sky's shoes. I think I can do a job captaining an international team as long as I don't have to bat or bowl, and as long as I can sub myself off after 1 over. So as far as that goes, I would like to be in Sky's shoes. So I'll put myself again in his shoes. I think the reason they didn't play these guys was because you want to give, I guess they are in the next rung of the batters, and their main batters itself, who are in their first 11, have not got enough opportunities. And you might have thought reasonably enough before the game that these guys will cover up the 20 overs. If they don't, they will cover up enough that only, the tailenders will be required only in the 17th, 18th overs. And maybe you want a Harshit Rana to bat at that time, because even he might be needed at that time, his batting. He has some amount of batting skill. We have not seen it at the international level. He has a first class century or something, I believe. A first class or a list A 100, one of the two. So he can bat. and he's built powerfully. He looks like a guy who can hit sixes. So maybe you the thinking is that even if these guys don't pull it, even if we need a Harshit Rana, the most likely spot we lead him is when there's only 1 or 2 overs there, which is what ended up happening actually. So we might as well send a Harshit Rana there instead of a Rinku or Jitesh, because we might need a Harshit Rana to face those situations more than a Rinku or Jitesh, because Rinku or Jitesh are not going to get in ahead of the guys who are there now. What?
First of all, Saurabh, I'm going to have to need you to lower your headphone volume, because I reckon there's a bit of echo. So just your audio sound that you can hear, lower that a bit. And I understand what you're trying to get at. And they definitely wanted to test their bench entirely. Sky won the toss and opted to bat first because he was like, guys need some time out in the middle, which makes perfect sense. You say that, they wanted to play all of these certain players in these specific phases so that, it's as close to a tense match, for instance, right? But my question is, if there are no injuries whatsoever, right? So fingers crossed, by the way. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if there are no injuries, then do you even see Harshit or Arshdeep get any game time? Because they benched Bumrah and Varun for this game. I don't see either of those two bowlers, those two seamers, like getting a game.
The only way I see it is I see Arshdeep getting a game if they decide that they cannot do with just one frontline seamer in Bumrah. So then they might drop Shivam Dube and get in Arshdeep, and that is the only way I see Arshdeep getting a game, because when the T20 World Cup comes, if you're facing Australia, South Africa, England, these like basically teams that bat deep and bat aggressively, you may not want to use Bumrah for 3 overs up front. So then you need another seamer.
Yep.
So then, and you may not think that, unless they think that Shivam Dube can do the job, which I think would be a stretch. So that is the only way I see Arshdeep getting a game. In this Asia Cup, I think it's difficult for him to get a game.
Yeah, I thought so the same, because I was like, if you are trying your bench, then you might as well have given some game time to. And you know what, Rinku, I thought of, but maybe Jitesh made more sense, because you've got Sanju Samson in this team who's batting out of position. Today, he does kind of come in the power play, so he bats in his position, if you think about it. But like, I don't know, I suppose that at times it was just so casual from India that from a viewer's perspective, or even someone who works in cricket media like us, it was just like I was watching this game and thinking, man, if I didn't work in cricket, I would have tuned out a long, long time ago. Like if I didn't need to cover this game later, I wouldn't be watching this shit, because it was like kind of, I don't know, man. It was net practice, glorified net practice. There's no other way to put it.
See, again, I said, I understand why they did it, because if you want to test, like, this is a higher intensity environment than nets.
Yep.
Even if they. But what they did was basically, they just used plan B throughout the game.
Yes.
Even without plan A failing, they just went straight to plan B. So I think that's what happened. And that's why the game panned out the way it did. But I wouldn't really fault them for using that. And I actually wouldn't have tuned out, because I would have been eager to see what they're going to do, because they almost created a situation where they were pushed, which has not happened so far. And which, if they play their A game with their A team, we don't foresee happening. Like we have said many times on this channel, not just us, everyone has said that they are playing at a level that is so far above the rest.
Yeah.
So I was eager to see how they react when pushed, even though they have created the situation themselves. So I probably wouldn't have tuned out, because just to see that.
Yeah.
But I can understand. Yeah. No, I mean, I can understand your angst about.
Also, don't lie to us. You also wouldn't have tuned out because your name has Oman in it. You are Saurabh Somani, okay? So that's another reason for you to watch the entire thing, because you don't know when you'll get to see Oman play next. Anyway.
If I don't get an Oman jersey sent to me after this podcast, I'm going to be seriously disappointed.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk a bit about India's batting, and then we'll come to the second innings as well. First of all, they have a rather underwhelming power play, which is weird to say because they score 60 for 1 in the power play. But 38 of 14 in the power play was scored by Abhishek Sharma. He departs soon after for 38 of 15. Of course, that's what he's in the team to do. And he just played a signature or trademark Abhishek Sharma knock. But then, 60 for 1 in the power play, 100 for 3 in 10 overs, and then they slow down. 140 for 5 in 15 overs and 188 for 8 in 20 overs. So they score 100 runs in the first 10, 88 runs in the last 10. I thought we were going to get 300 today, right? Like that's what I was coming into this game with. And this wasn't that.
You did say 300, and I thought actually you had a it was a good possibility. So the slowdown, I think to some extent it was a little bit of a sluggish surface, you can say. The Abhishek Sharma thing, he was there for 7 overs and he was out at 7.1. And a guy who's striking like that has faced only 15 balls in 7.1 overs. That's something to look at, like
True.
I don't care how sluggish the surface is. The guy who's going at that rate of knots like that, you just take a single somewhere, which all of the Indian batsmen, even if they are not really, in good nick and all, they are good enough to do that at least.
Yeah. It
So
was a bit
that-
shocking. I agree because you've got Abhishek who will slam the crap out of the ball. He does play at an astronomical rate, and 38 of 15 is proof of that. Every time I talk about players of that mold, that is now Abhishek Sharma mold, throw in Phil Salt, maybe Travis Head, of course, Joss Butler, Finn Allen, perhaps, I don't know. I'm clutching at straws now. But you expect 30 of 12, right? They'll play 12 deliveries, they'll score 30 runs, and that's exactly what Abhishek Sharma is. He was 29 of 10 today, and then ultimately ended with 38 of 15. The idea, or at least the aim, should be to give these sort of batters the maximum amount of deliveries in the power play, which we didn't see India do.
Yeah. So that's what that was the disappointing part of the power play, which is also why everyone would have felt that 60 for 1 is an underwhelming power play because of the rate at which Abhishek Sharma is going. Now, if both batsmen were going and 30 of 20 or something, like you can 60 for 1 is a good power play. But when one guy is going at a strike rate of 300, you think that you should score more in the power play. Even if he plays half the balls in the power play, you should score more.
Yeah.
That's why I think 60 felt underwhelming.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of super chats that I should just take right now before we forget
Yeah.
them. First up, we've got Gagi S, friend of mine. Thanks for the super chat, Gagi. She says, Ashdeep and Rana aren't selected for a reason, or is this due to lack of practice? What a disaster. Iyer or Jaiswal need to be in the squad. So there are a few different things you're saying over there, Gargi. I do feel there was merit in playing those two seamers because might as well, right? Like, why not is the question that beckons. I mean, you want to give them some miles in their legs, which is kind of practice, which we saw in today's game because it was a dead rubber and India didn't really care. The one thing that they did tell us is that they're just trying to make this hard for themselves. They aren't really in this game, to compete properly, I suppose. They're just like trying different situations. But then Iyer or Jaiswal, I've been saying that, man. Like, I originally, when the squad was selected, I was like, okay, love Shubman Gill. I think he's a good T20 bat, but is he better than Yashasvi Jaiswal as an opener? I don't think so. I would take Jaiswal over Shubman Gill. And then also, if you've got Sanju Samson in the team, you might as well open with him. And then Iyer gets in ahead of Gill. I've never talked to you about this, so you tell me what you think.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree
You're the
with you.
first person at Good Areas who agrees with me, by the way. Shayan didn't agree with me. Varun didn't agree with me. And I've never spoken to Jared about this.
We'll send him a formal notarized letter after this. But no, but I got on the Shreyas Iyer hype train after this IPL. Actually, I was so impressed with the way he altered his game basically, because this was not the Shreyas Iyer that we had seen in IPL's past. This was a different avatar of the guy, and some of it seemed to carry over into his ODI game also. I felt he was a lot more aggressive in his ODI game. Of course, you don't need to be like T20, so he wasn't, but he was unbelievable in both formats.
Yeah.
And I was like really, when he was sold for that 26.75 crore, I thought it was a tad high. And now I'm like, yeah, he was worth that price. You know,
Yeah, same. I
yeah.
actually took jibes at Punjab that they've overspent on Iyer and the way he batted. I was like, no, maybe they've underspent on Iyer. But is there not a case based on that IPL season alone that Shreyas Iyer had and he played the final and he was the captain and the way that he batted and especially took on spin and everything and played the short ball. These are the main things with Iyer, right? Would
Yeah.
you not even take him ahead of Tilak?
I think I had this discussion with our other friends at Good Areas, and like Varun said, like Tilak has not done anything wrong to be dropped, and I was like, I agree. You
Yeah.
know, you can't point at something Tilak has done wrong, so for him
Yeah.
to be dropped. But that is the thing with the Indian team today. Like everybody who's left out is going to have a very good case to get in.
Yeah.
Not everybody who's left out, but yeah, you can probably find 10 guys who are left out who have a very good case to get in. And that is what has happened with Shreyas and Jaiswal. Even if Shreyas and Jaiswal had been selected, we could have still argued that do Gill and Tilak Verma not deserve to be in the squad? And they do. They do deserve to be in the squad. So it's not as if they are not there on merit.
Yeah.
They are. But it's just that India has such an abundance of riches that you can find arguments for people who are maybe even slightly better than those guys who already deserve to be there.
Fair. I mean, they do have a wealth of riches when it comes to talent and resources. But there is this very general consensus amongst fans from all over the world, actually, that if India had a second team, it would be really, really strong. Batting wise, yes. But I don't think it would be very strong bowling wise, right? If you take out Varun,
think it will
Kuldeep,
be
and Bumrah, the next rung of bowlers aren't quite at that level. No one is at that level, those three bowlers, right?
That's actually true. No one is, but they still have competent guys. Like you have a Prasidh and a Siraj.
Yes.
Prasidh had a wonderful IPL. Siraj, when he's on, he's almost hits Bumrah levels. Of course, he never hits them as often as Bumrah does. Nobody does in the world. But because I'm still the president of the Bumrah fan club, not to forget.
No, you're not.
You are not.
No, you're not. For those of
I
you
am.
who've caught our auctions, both times, ODI and T20Is, I snaked away with the Bumrah pick. I overspent on him, or actually for me, I aptly spent on him, and Saurabh didn't beat me. So I am the new president of the Bumrah fan club.
We'll settle this off air. But so the bowling, and you have other spinners like there is Ravi Bishnoi, Sai Kishore, Krunal Pandya. I'm probably missing a bunch of names who aren't. I'm trying to think. I can't think off the cuff. But even if you take
Rahul
these three,
Chahar, maybe.
no, Rahul Chahar has fallen off a little bit. Not that he can't come back, but right now I don't think he would be in the reckoning.
I've
But
got the cornrow bias. That's why I always kind of push his name forward. Yep.
Yeah, but even if you take like a Krunal, Ravi Bishnoi, Sai Kishore, Prasidh, Siraj bowling attack, that's not bad at all. I mean, it's not Bumrah, Kuldeep, Varun, Akshar, but it's not bad at all. It could very well compete, and the batting there is abundance of talent anyway. So a second team, I actually do believe that a second team, if there was India A also in this competition, the final, I would have put my money on an India versus India A final.
I don't know about that for me because I feel like the other team can get out-batted in this one. There's no chance because A, the batters are elite, and then B, how do you play 12 overs of Kuldeep, Varun and Bumrah? I mean, I just never understand that.
Washington Sundar is a name I forgot.
True. Washi's also there. I think Sai Kishore is probably my frontline spinner in the second team. I would go for him. Anyway, there are more super chats, so let's look at what Anurag P has to say. He asks, I feel Sri Lanka would be favourites to win. India look a bit sluggish and incomplete without Shreyas, and bowling has some loopholes. Anurag, Varun and Bumrah will play versus Sri Lanka. So by no means will Sri Lanka be favourites. I don't see it, man.
I don't know, if you find loopholes in a bowling attack where 16 overs are going to be bowled by Bumrah, Kuldeep, Varun and Akshar, you are really, really difficult to please, man. Like if you find loopholes in those 4 overs that are left, which Hardik, who is quite competent by himself, and maybe a Dubey or whatever, Abhishek 1 or 2 overs, That might be a loophole. The only loophole I can see is, the only way this Indian team would have been very complete is maybe a prime Andre Russell is in there. So he would be hitting also, he would be bowling those 4 overs also, and then you would have 5 overs of amazing whatever, five bowlers, 6 bowlers of who can cover your 20 overs completely. And India's look a bit sluggish. I don't know, man. Have you seen Abhishek Sharma bat?
Yeah.
I
Even on this surface, right? Like some
Yeah.
batters found it tough to score, and Abhishek Sharma slammed 38 or 15. I don't think
have
there's
you-
much to worry about, Indian fans, honestly.
Have you seen Surya Kumar Yadav bat? Just because he didn't bat today doesn't mean you forget about how he can bat. Surya Kumar Yadav is like one of the 2 or 3 greatest T20 batters ever, according to me. Like just pure batters wise. So I don't know, man. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, anyway, we've got another super chat with respect to India where Andy says India are like Real Madrid, most talented team in the world, but iffy balance, have to compromise power play or death bowling, and there's no death hitting. Again, Andy, with all due respect, I do disagree over here. The balance is great because they've got Akshar and Hardik, who are 2 complete bowlers and 2 complete batters, and that allows you to go for deep batting and not compromise on bowling. And then you've got 12 overs of those guys, Varun, Bumrah, and Kuldeep. And then, you're not compromising on power play because they could bowl Akshar in the power play. They could bowl Varun in the power play. Hardik can bowl at the power play and the death. Bumrah can bowl at the power play and the death. They're sorted. Middle overs is Kuldeep Yadav. So the balance is complete. And I feel like they've got mostly all bases covered. It's just that the only odd thing I find in this team is that Sanju's still in it. Right? I would bite as well. I would have tried Jitesh today, for instance. And then also, I feel like for me personally, like Gargi mentioned above, I would have not gone with Gill. I would have either gone with Jaiswal or Shreyas Iyer and then played those guys accordingly. If Iyer was in, Sanju opens, Iyer is first drop, and then obviously Jaiswal is playing, then Jaiswal opens. Yeah, so-
Yeah, I mean, that's their compromise their power play or death bowling. They do have the option to bring in an Arshdeep too, like, they might drop Shivam Dubey, but and death hitting, you have a Hardik Pandya, you have Sky, Sanju, Tilak, like none of them are poor hitters. Like they may be batting. The only thing you can say about this team is that everyone is slightly out of position. At times, it could be, especially like today I saw Akshar batted above Shivam Dubey. So that,
yeah.
I don't know if we should read a whole lot into that, but if we do have to, then it tells me that Akshar is more likely to play than Dubey if it comes to that. So Dubey will be the guy dropped if they want to bring in an Arshdeep. Because otherwise you will send Dubey in, because both of them are left-handed spin hitters. So
Yeah.
who do you send first is who you think has you foresee facing greater number of balls. So they sent Akshar first. So just,
enough.
I mean, I don't know. It's just small things like this. These are problems that other teams would kill to have.
True.
These are not.
These aren't problems that one would be very afraid
Yeah.
of. These are very, very good problems to have. A generous super chat by Abhishek Divakar. He says India's depth is praised, but without Bumrah and Varun, they went at 8.35 runs per over. Does this show the squad lacks real control? So I raised this earlier, right? You might have missed that, where I said that India's second team might be a good batting team, but I have questions with respect to the bowling. I guess you're kind of alluding to the same thing. Now, I can understand that India weren't really putting in a lot of effort today and they was just like very casual in their cricket. But then again, I do feel like, once you go to that second rung of bowlers, they can have good days, but they cannot be as consistently good as Bumrah, Varun and Kuldeep.
Yeah, I mean, but it's unfair to compare anyone to those guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
they are the best in the world. I mean, they might make a world T20 11 as the bowling attack. Bumrah, Varun, and Kuldeep. Or Bumrah would definitely make it. Varun and Kuldeep would be in the conversation for sure. So they are that good, but they also went at 8.35 because, Abhishek Sharma was given an over in the middle. 8 bowlers were used. You're
Yeah.
not going to use
Tilak,
8.
Fucking
Tilak was-
Verma bowled, dude. I was shocked.
I know.
Abhishek Sharma still bowls every now and then.
Still bowls, yeah.
I've never ever seen Tilak Verma bowl.
I've seen Tilak Verma bowl in the IPL.
Uh-huh.
Especially a couple of years back, they tried to turn him into a bit of a, if not an all-rounder, at least a Maxwell type player. But I don't think it panned out. But yeah, so Tilak bowled, Abhishek bowled. You're not going to find that happening, in a normal T20 match. So that 8.35, don't go too much by it.
Yeah, Absolutely. Sankalp asks, what ATY? I'm sorry, Sankalp, I have no idea what ATY means. I'm too old for this shit. Guys, India achieved the most this game. I think they didn't want to achieve anything. They just wanted to try guys out and create different circumstances for themselves to kind of give everyone game time. I don't think like anything else was on their radar in terms of achieving in this game.
I mean, I think they would have got some serious heat if they had actually lost the game. So they needed to win it.
Yeah.
But and they achieved what they wanted to, which is, give game time to all of their next rung guys or the batters who have not got enough time. Give them game time. Give the bowlers enough overs, enough situations where they might face. So they achieved what they wanted. I mean, and they got away with a victory. So yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, ultimately, it is a 21-run win for India, and whilst people might be underwhelmed, I don't think they will really lose any sleep over this. Aditya Balal with the next super chat says, Sky did not bat despite 8 down or bowl. Record, it is rather peculiar. I think everyone will remember this game for Sky not batting or bowling, because at one time I thought he might as well bowl, right? Again, I raised the question earlier that why not just try Rinku or Jitesh or whatnot, but ultimately I feel like he was just not in that mind frame where he was like, okay, screw it, I don't care, and these tailenders are going to be batting, as Saurabh said, at the death, so might as well just try them out over there.
I think I was just disappointed. I want Sky to be a little more selfish. I want him to be a stat padder. No need to do this, like Varun says, this woke nonsense of, I will give everyone else a go. Listen, we want to watch you bat, man. You're the best T20 batter in the world right now with AB de Villiers retired. We want to watch you bat. So don't be so magnanimous also. Just come in. We want to watch you play those shots and smash the bowling around and dismantle attacks. So but yeah, I wish he was more of a stat padder, but from a very logical point of view, I can understand why he did what he did. But it is a record. I don't think he has ever batted below 6 or 7. I forgot the exact number, but so he has never batted below that, and today obviously he was a number 11.
Yeah, that didn't happen either. It could have been a record, but it didn't happen, right? So I suppose there's that. Anyway, there's another super chat. The super chats are coming in quick today. Andy once again says it feels like there's an invincible team in this talent pool they haven't put together. Role allocation in the batting is a bit weird, as you said. I actually agree with you over there. I feel like India can assemble a more invincible squad than this. 100% with you over there, Andy.
Who would you have in that invincible squad?
Shreyas
or Jaiswal?
I would get both of those guys, man. I would get rid of Gill and Sanju Samson, both of them, because I want to open with Jaiswal. Yeah, sure. Why not? Hear me out. Get both of Iyer and Jaiswal in for Gill and Samson, and keep with Jitesh. How bad is that?
But who does Jitesh come in for? Who else do you drop then? Because you are dropping 2 guys and bringing in 2 guys.
Yeah, so I'm keeping Jitesh. He's already in the squad.
No, in the 11.
Oh, then I pick and choose whether Tilak plays or Iyer plays, and I can play around with things. Yeah. I would do that, but of course, people might think differently. Also, ahead of Harsh Rana, I'd have Prasid Krishna in the squad. I think they can assemble a better squad for sure. All right, this is a really fun super chat by one of my Janis of the Pro Sports podcast. He's a paid subscriber over there. Final boss, Emperor Roy Maivia. He says Oman gave a better fight than Pakistan against India. Now, you have a point. I'm not saying you don't, but do bear in mind that India weren't taking this game seriously and there was no Varun or Bumrah. You have to take that into account. That said, Saurabh, our man Hamad Mirza smashed Kuldeep Yadav for back-to-back 6s. They played Kuldeep better than Pakistan, right? There's that bit. And also, if you really think about it, right, they played Abhishek Sharma better. Pakistan took 5 runs off Abhishek Sharma's over, whereas these guys got some runs off him.
And I remember how you castigated Pakistan for not attacking Abhishek Sharma, which I thought was completely justified. That I mean, what are you doing when you have this kind of bowling attack and you get an Abhishek Sharma? You can't be knocking him around. I was completely on your side in that one.
Dude, there was a full toss that he bowled and Saib Zada Farhan took him down or slapped him down to long on for a single, and I was losing my mind. I was like, if you're not going to attack Abhishek Sharma, then what's the plan? Like, clearly Oman got the memo. They attacked him, right? But Pakistan, I think Roy Maivia, you have a point over there. I'm going to give this to you. Oman did play India better than Pakistan.
I like his name. His name is a nod to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. So I really...
He's a fun guy. Anyway, we're done with the super chats, but I still want to talk to you about stuff, right? We've discussed India at length. We haven't talked about Sanju Samson. I know Varun and Shayan are eagerly waiting for this segment. And look, he came out to bat at first drop, which was probably the right thing to do. If you have him in the team, you might as well, play him up the order and give him the power play. He struggled, man. He was dropped on 44 for starters, so he could not have gotten a 50, right? And then he got to his 50 of 41 deliveries, which was the slowest 50 of this game. And mind you, the other two 50s are from Oman, right? So dropped on 44, 41 ball 50, ends up with 56 of 45. I know that the surface was sluggish, but then Oman also batted on the same surface. And whilst he did try at times, I'm not going to say that he didn't try enough. I think you might have the numbers handy of attacking shots that he played. But then again, he couldn't quite execute. I think, if anything, he's done Jitesh a favor over here.
I don't know if he's done Jitesh a favor per se, because I think they still are going to keep the faith with him for a bit longer at least. But yeah, he attacked 32 of the 45 balls he faced.
Yep.
Which if you're not told anything else, you're just told Sanju Samson played a 45 ball innings, he attacked 32 balls. You would think he ended up scoring 70 at least of those 45 balls.
Exactly.
So the fact that he scored only 50 odd shows that it just didn't come off for him. He was trying. So the intent was fine. I wouldn't fault his intent. He was attacking as many balls as he usually does. It's just that he was not able to middle them, or he was edging, or he was missing. And maybe the slowness of the surface contributed to it. But the slowness of the surface you can't hold entirely. I think he was just not in good nick.
Yeah.
It's been a while since he has batted too. Last
True.
couple of matches he has not got to bat. So he was just a little, maybe, yeah. He was sluggish more than the surface. No, I think he was sluggish, and that's what happened. So I won't fault his intent, but execution just went completely awry. So
I agree. I think he tried at times, and there were plays and misses. He couldn't really play Shah Faisal at all, right? And we're going to talk about him too later. And again, at times I felt like, he was really struggling out there. And despite the sluggish conditions, there are other people who batted faster on this same track. And even in these sort of conditions, I think 56 or 45 is a bit unacceptable, especially in this Indian team versus Oman. You have to take these things into consideration as well. And one of my buddies at cricket.com, Gaurav Nandan Tripathi, he really wanted us to discuss this as well. I'm not giving him a passing grade. I'm sorry. I didn't like this innings at all. And again, if Oman had been dismissed quickly, maybe my thoughts would have been different. But we saw two quality 50s from Oman, right? Both better than Sanju Samson, both quicker than Sanju Samson.
yeah, and both against superior quality of bowling than what Sanju Samson faced.
Absolutely.
So definitely, yeah. I mean, those two 50s were actually quite thrilling to watch, right? Because also because I think they were a little unexpected. I thought Oman were happy to just knock it around and end up with 130, 140 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
honestly,
they actually went for it, and they started middling it beautifully. Like those two sixes of Kuldeep that you mentioned, that came completely out of the blue, but it made us all sit up, right? Like, even in the chat.
Yeah. Do you remember the chat? I messaged, I was frustrated that what a shit game to watch. And I was like, give the ball to Kuldeep already. They do give the ball to Kuldeep. And then Hamad Mirza smashes Kuldeep for back-to-back sixes. His knock was probably the second best of the game, behind Abhishek Sharma, I would say. He got to his half century in 30 deliveries. That is 11 deliveries quicker than Sanju Samson. Those back-to-back sixes versus Kuldeep, and ultimately ends with 51 of 33. And you know what? He looked like a pretty good batter in the sense that his technique was solid. I was quite impressed by Hamad Mirza. And also in this entire Oman team where everyone looks like they're 45, this kid was young.
That's true. He does look young, Everyone else, he's like a kid playing amongst uncles and all. But he was. I really, I think you made a very good point about his technique. It did look really good, It was not as if he was like slogging blindly across the line or just trying to hit too hard and managing to get the ball away. He was actually playing pleasing shots and connecting well, timing them well, and placing them well. Often playing smart shots.
Yeah.
So I really liked what I saw. He was I think he was the only one who made runs against Pakistan too, right? He was
good versus Pakistan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. He
So
was really good versus India, though. And the fact that he gets those 2 sixes of Kuldeep kind of, build his street cred. Because it's not like he smashed his runs off, I don't know, Abhishek or Tilak, right? He might have gotten
yeah.
4 of them or whatever. But those 2 sixes are what people will remember when they remember this knock by Hamad Mirza. And I hope that this ends up helping him land some sort of gig in some sort of league, right? Because he, as learning videos by Nikhil points out, he's just 27 years of age. That's not bad at all. Even if that's just his listed age, how old could he possibly be? Right? Because
I mean, he doesn't look older. At least he doesn't
Yeah,
look
he
older than
doesn't.
27. So
yeah, very attractive bat. Because if you compare it to Amir Kaleem, right, that guy is primarily a slow left armer. I think he was sent up as a pinch hitter. 43-year-old, maybe he's older than that. And you could tell that this 50 really means a lot to him. He kind of looks like Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Saad, my co-host at Pro Sports, pointed this out. So we started calling him Kalimullah Siddiqui. Oh, Kalimuddin Siddiqui, sorry. And so 43 years of age, gets to his 50 and 38 delivery, so 3 balls quicker than Sanju Samson, and ends up with 64 or 46. I mean, he's going to, go to his grave someday feeling really proud with that knock.
I was so impressed with his acceleration. He was
Yeah.
sort of knocking the ball around, and then suddenly he just unleashed.
Yeah.
And it was exactly what was needed from a game point of view. From a chasing point of view. That the chase is getting steep. Start hitting out, and he just started So I was, and I'm sure he'll be like you said. Happy. He'll look back very fondly at this knock, and he should. It was a very nice innings.
Yeah.
I thought that the young guy's innings was
Yes,
better, but
course.
but that doesn't mean Kaleem's innings was not good. It was also really
Absolutely. I would like to kind of just close this with, according to me, I think Hamad Mirza's 50 was the best half century of the game. And then
Yeah.
Amir Kaleem was better than Sanju Samson, and that's good enough praise, I suppose. He took a 3-for versus Pakistan with the ball, I think 3 for 31. Now he scores 64 or 46 versus India. It's been a very, very memorable Asia Cup for the man, and I'm happy for him. But Saurabh, neither of these two guys were Oman's best player today. That award has to go to Shah Faisal, the left arm quick. Uproots Shubman Gill's off pole in his first over. Ends up with 1 for 8 in 2 power play overs and 1 for 15 in 2 death overs. So 2 for 23 on the night. He's got the best bowling figures across both teams.
Oh wow! I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Amazing, no? but
it is.
fully deserved, right? I was really impressed with him against Pakistan too. He had an off game against who was it? UAE, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had an off game there. But I was really impressed with him against Pakistan, and I was really glad to see him bowl the way he did. Like there was a certain zip and something about him when he was bowling. You could see that it's not like there is sometimes the established teams can sort of bully associate nations. Some bowler comes who you would patronizingly call a honest trier or something, and they would just sort of take the guy apart when they're in the mood. And this was absolutely, you just couldn't do that against Shah Faisal, at least not the way he was bowling today. I loved the way he was getting it to move. I loved his lengths. I really thought he had that zip and everything going for him. Yeah, very, very good to watch. And that, taking out Shubman Gill's off stump was a beautiful.
Yeah. That was special, man. I mean, I was like, holy hell, this just happened, and then they couldn't really play him in the power play. Like he was beating the bat very, very frequently. Sanju couldn't really put bat on ball versus Faisal. He looks like an experienced bloke. I mean, no spring chicken by any means, and he's not express. But then again, this bowling performance versus India, he's going to remember this for a long, long time, because they weren't going easy on Oman in their batting innings, right? That's not a thing.
Yeah, they were not. And he's not an experienced bloke. I think his first ever T20 was that match against Pakistan.
Right. You're right.
He hasn't played T20 cricket at the senior level before this tournament.
That's crazy. He picked a 3-for on debut versus Pakistan. You're right, and now I remember.
Yeah. So I'm hoping at least he gets like some ILT20 contract. Hamad Mirza, unless they already have one. Shah Faisal doesn't have one, because otherwise he would have had a T20 game to his name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
True. Anyway, so good on you, Shah Faisal and Hamad Mirza. And we don't know when Oman will get to play next, which is the great tragedy with associate teams. And if anything, this Asia Cup has proven to us that, they do deserve to play more. Hong Kong really pushed Sri Lanka. The UAE pushed Pakistan. Oman played splendidly well versus India today, even if India weren't trying. And, recently Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the UAE played a tri-series. I feel like this might be the way forward. Include them. So bilateral T20 series don't mean jack shit. But when you make these T20I series, quadrangulars or triadation series, at least there's a final, there's some sort of context. That should be the way forward for associate nations in the T20 format, I reckon.
But will there be buyers for it amongst the broadcast media? Because
Maybe.
I think ultimately that is what will determine whether they get game time or not. Now, why I think the tri series, we don't play tri series anymore, right? The reason we don't is because of this exact thing. Now, unless you play a tri series with India, South Africa, and Australia, or something like that, where obviously India and Pakistan are not going to play against each other in tri series. But so without that, if you play India, South Africa, Australia, then maybe every match will have some interest. Although still, the broadcasters are not going to be as interested in the Australia South Africa matches. Now you take out even one of those teams and you put in a lesser full member team also. You put in, without disparaging anyone, but you put in, like, let's say Sri Lanka or something, who are not as big a draw. The interest from broadcast is going to drop sharply. And then if you have Oman or Hong Kong, it will be great for the development. It will be great for them. But I don't know if that series will have enough buyers to make it viable. Of course, in an ideal world, even if it's not viable, there are people with enough money to, be prepared to lose money on this. And that should happen. But that's not going to happen. Is
yes, but
sad.
Let me counter this in a way, right? Let's suppose you've got a T20I series between Pakistan and the West Indies. If you add an Oman to it, right? You play more games, so that's more ad revenue. Fine. And then once you have a final, you can potentially make more money off the final because it has the word final attached to it. There is that school of thought as well, right?
That's I think that's a very fair point. And I was thinking more in terms of, maybe the India centric matches. So they might not get to play India or even Australia, England. They might not get to play.
Sure.
But what you said certainly seems more workable. And I think that's a really good point, that the word final is there.
Yeah, it does make things more interesting. We don't give a flying fuck about bilateral T20s, but if there's a final to play, everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that could be a potential route for associate nations in T20Is moving forward. And Rakshit really wanted us to talk about this, so it came organically into the conversation. All right. If we just talk about Oman with the bat today, right? Like 44 for not, or sorry, 44 for no loss in the power play was really good. I thought they were really impressive. In fact, that's the best power play versus India in this Asia Cup, even better than Pakistan. Yes. And then India got a bit serious. They were 62 for 1 in 10 overs. And then India started to kind of muck around. Oman got to 116 for 1 in 15 overs and ended up with 167 for 4 in 20 overs. So death overs, they score 51 runs. Power play, they score 44 runs. They don't lose a wicket in that phase. There is a lot to kind of take forward in terms of like positives for Oman. And with India, I mean, the only positive, I suppose, is game time. And perhaps Hardik Pandya, because he was their only good performer in the second innings for me. He ends up with 1 for 26 when the game gets slightly tight. He bowls that over and kills the game. Then he takes that splendid catch. Best figures for India, 1 for 26. And that catch has to count for something because that's what ultimately kills the game, right? So barring him, I wasn't particularly impressed with anyone in the second innings from India.
I mean, Kuldeep's first 2 overs were pretty good.
Yep, then he goes for those 2 sixes though.
Yeah. And Akshar couldn't bowl because he fell and hit his head, right? So
by the way, do we have an update? Because he bowled an over, he only concedes 4 runs, but then he drops the catch, hits his head, and then they take him off. So I don't know. I'm not sure if he's all right.
Not yet. We don't have an update yet. I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm hoping it was just a precautionary, going off the field because
At worst, it's a concussion. But then again,
Yeah.
you mentioned how you wanted, or India wanted to try their bench out. There's no Akshar replacement.
There is no Akshar replacement. That's a good point. Yeah, there is no Hardik replacement or Akshar replacement
Yeah.
because
Those are two very
they
important players.
yeah. So if he's not available, it'll be interesting to see which route they go.
Yeah.
Shivam Dubey might have to pick up some of the bowling load,
Mm.
and they'll probably have to get in a frontline bowler if Akshar is not there,
Yeah. Well, hopefully
because who will
he's
bowl
fine.
those overs?
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
like he's an important player, especially versus Pakistan, who India play in less than 48 hours. And Pakistan don't know how to play slow left armers. That's one thing that everyone knows by now. If you are a slow left arm bowler, your quality doesn't matter. You can play versus Pakistan and have very, very good figures. So let's see how that develops. But
Maybe
here's to
they'll
hoping
fly
he's fine.
in. Maybe they'll fly in Krunal Pandya emergency.
Perhaps.
Krunal Pandya was man of the match in the last T20 he played, I guess, no, the IPL final. So
That's also a very, very valid point. Anyway, we've got some more super chats. Damn, I thought this would be a 20-minute show, but you guys are coming in your numbers, and Saurabh and I are having a great time. So, what's the
Yeah.
point of leaving? All right, we've got some interesting ones over here. Gargi S, once again. Thank you, Gargi, for another super chat. She says, Player of the match, Sanju. Really? They gave Player of the match to Sanju?
wow,
That's fucking nuts, man. I mean, she thinks that Hamad Mirza deserved it. I would
I
say
agree.
any of those run scorers, Hamad Mirza, Amir Kaleem, Abhishek Sharma, I'd give all of those guys player of the match ahead of Sanju.
or Shah Faisal,
Or Shah Faisal or Hardik Pandya even though he gets
Or
run
even
out in a
Hardik.
freak manner. But he was
Yeah.
their only good performer, India's only good performer in the second innings. This is crazy. On what basis do they hand these awards out? It is madness to give it to Sanju, by the way. Fuck.
I mean, the man of the match awards, especially in T20 cricket, I think they just you give it to the highest scorer, and often the highest scorer is not the best player. Like
It's
this,
stupid.
we are waiting for cricket to catch up to good areas, man. Like we're not.
In the words of Sunny G, this is stupid, stupid, stupid. Gagi, thank you for letting us know, because I would have been sad if I found this out later and we wouldn't have talked about it. Anyway, Aditya Bilal says, I do not want to see India, Pakistan in the same group. Good for both. Let's see what happens in the T20 World Cup, because Pakistan is scheduled to play in Sri Lanka. That you might see that happen over there. But how do you feel about India and Pakistan on the same podcast? Because that's what's happening over here. You want to shake hands again? Saurabh?
Yes.
Other hand. There
other
you go.
hand, okay.
No, the other one. You got the wrong hand. There you go.
Okay, so now we have to do it with the opposite hands, because on my screen we are pointing at in opposite directions. On your
Oh.
screen we are shaking hands now. Now if
Okay.
you do with other side.
that?
Yeah.
All
Now
right, there
we
we
are
go.
shaking hands on my screen too.
Perfect. So
Whichever one it is works. We have
Yeah.
done it. Yeah.
I hope we haven't traumatized or triggered you, but we've done this twice now on both episodes of the Cast
Yes.
Money podcast, which is actually third innings, but we like to have a bit of fun with this. All right, there's actually another super chat that I missed over here. This is a really fun one. Sankalp once again asks, Saurav, hey, you don't want to ask me. He says, who's India's third best seamer in T20s? Before you answer that, isn't there a solid case for Hardik Pandya?
That's actually a good point, because I was thinking in terms of pure seamers.
Yeah.
But who
You know-
do you think is the best? I mean, it's okay. Even if he has asked me, you can also tell it who's.
I don't think it's Hardik Pandya. That was a joke, because obviously he's such an important player for India, and we all remember the Klassen
Yeah.
dismissal. So based on those elements, sure, he potentially could be a contender, but no, maybe Prasidh Krishna.
So that's the guy I was thinking of too. Prasidh would have been my pick for the third best pure seamer. Now,
Yes.
obviously, the Indian team they want some amount of batting ability in their third best seamer, which is why Harshit Rana is in the side ahead of Prasidh Krishna. So, if you want to include the whole package, then maybe Harshit Rana gets in ahead. But if you're just looking for the third best seamer, then I would pick Prasidh Krishna.
Yeah, I would
I mean,
suppose that's
Arshdeep
Siraj
is second.
Siraj is another option. Yeah, Arshdeep is second for
Si-
me, surely, in pure seamers.
Siraj on his best days is India's second best seamer, I would say. But those best days don't come as often, and he's not able to, turn a bad day into an okay one. That's
Yes.
the problem with Siraj. He can very easily go for a
Also,
lot of runs.
there's also the bit where Siraj has played most of his career, whereas Prasidh might just be emerging. And I feel like in that particular phase, bowling through the middle overs, Prasidh was really, really exceptional in the IPL. So I'm actually, kind of really interested to see how his career develops from here on, because he has been erratic at the start of his career. And even in this very test series, I know T20s and tests are completely different, but in this test series alone, see how well he progressed, that by the end of that test series, he was India's second best bowler in the Oval Test match behind Siraj.
Yeah, true. He was, and he had a fantastic IPL. And I was just seeing some of the comments. Rao says Bhuvi is still better than any of these guys. And actually, I mean, I don't think he's better than, but he actually, if you ignore age and all, he should be in the conversation, because he has done it again and again and again over the years, and he's done it when people have thought he's no longer can do it. He's definitely really one of the most canny T20 bowlers I've seen. He really knows how to use all his nous and experience.
Yeah.
It's and I remember before the IPL auction, Dinesh Karthik was in the RCB's think tank. He's their batting coach and all that. He said Bhuvneshwar Kumar, according to me, is the second best seamer in India still today, behind Jasprit Bumrah. If you
Interesting.
take out Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar is still the guy I would pick, which is why RCB bid 11 crores for him, by the way. They got him after a fierce
and
bidding war.
he was splendid once again. I mean, not at peak Bhuvaneshwar levels. Obviously, he's been
No,
such a
not
really,
at peak.
Yeah, but with the new ball, you still trust him, right?
Yes, absolutely. And even at the death, he did a job at the death also for RCB. And there were times when he could still nail those Yorkers at the death, which it was very impressive. So yeah, I think I would still pick Prasidh third, but I mentioned Bhuvi because I do think that he might have been overlooked.
Yeah, I think it's a solid shout, honestly, because I feel he's one of the better new ball bowlers that T20 cricket has ever seen. He is just recently an IPL winner with RCB as well. And I mean, he played his role to perfection, and you could say that in a way. Although it's helpful when you've got Hazelwood in the same team, I suppose. Like that takes a bit of pressure off of you. But I think still my answer is still Prasidh Krishna. I'm not really moving from that. Hey, I've got an interesting one for you. Provided he's fit, how about Mayank Yadav?
I want to see how fast he's bowling after he's fit, because of the various injuries he has had and what he has gone through. If he's bowling like the guy who bowled in IPL 2024 for those 2 or 3 games, Mayank Yadav, man, I'm all in for Mayank Yadav.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have
Finish
to,
your thought.
but we have to see. No, we have to see.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know how he'll be post injury. Like we were so excited with Umran Malik, right? Like he's also didn't manage to do that. Mayank Yadav, what I was really impressed by was his control of length. You don't find that in a player who bowls 156 kilometers an hour, but he was hitting that length magnificently.
Yeah.
But after his injury, whatever little bit he has bowled has not been at that same level.
I mean, when he was bowling at that, astronomical pace in the previous IPL, I reckon, not this one, of course. He was injured for the start of this one. There were shouts for him being on the Australia tour, if you remember. And I was like, hey, maybe if he is bowling that quickly, why the hell not? But the body, clearly couldn't, or his body clearly couldn't cope with that level of pace. And hopefully, we'll see more of him. I'm really excited about him. Look, I'm a Pakistani man. Of course, pace excites me more
Pace
than
is
anything
pace,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, pace is pace, yeah. But I mean, he's a decent shout for the future, perhaps. But currently, I would go with Prasidh.
Definitely.
Anyway, yeah.
Definitely
I
decent for the future.
yeah, I think that should be it for today. The Super Fours are coming up. Tomorrow we've got the Nagin Derby. Let's see if I can get Estelle on for that one. And then we've got another India-Pakistan game. Here's to hoping there's no further drama. And we actually get to enjoy some cricket, and the Super Fours are exciting. The Asia Cup has picked up the pace. We've gotten some interesting games now, and I hope that it remains that way. So thank you guys for your interactions and your super chats. And just a quick reminder, you can go to goodareas.co and bookmark that webpage, and that can prove to be your one-stop shop for all the fun work that we do as part of our team, whether it be written content, videos, or podcasts. And as I mentioned at the start, All of these podcasts on the Good Areas Network are powered by our supporters on Patreon. You can become one of them by going to Patreon/Good Areas Podcast, and that way you can enjoy ad-free content, you can talk to us exclusively, and you can give us podcast recommendations. And generally, it's a very inclusive community, so just come through, become a part of our family. Anyway, thanks for your time, Saurabh. Hopefully, we'll meet each other again, and thank you, everyone, as well. We'll see you soon enough. That's all for today. Have a good one, and goodbye.
This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. If you want to be part of the community that makes content like this, head over now.